The other thing too is, I always ask people like, well, is your home somewhere that you want to live or somewhere that you want to make money off of?
Yeah.
Because not everyone's answer is, I want to make money off it.
Yeah.
Right? Some people it is, though. And you have to treat everyone for what their specific need is. Like I have a lot of clients who buy one home and they're in that home. They're going to be in that home for 30 years.
Yeah.
And you look at that as like, okay, it's a blue chip stock.
Yeah.
Right? You don't buy and, you don't trade a blue chip stock every 2 years. You let it ride.
Yeah.
Right? And real estate is that. But if someone's goals are shorter term than that, then it's important to have these conversations. It's the same reason when I have a client who buys something and pays a premium for something that is really nice and polished and finished.
Yeah.
Right? Like if it's the nicest home on the street, it's like, well, just understand that you're paying a premium for this and there's very little value that you can add.
Yeah.
Right? As the new owner, there's very little value that you can add. So you need to be fully aware that all this home is going to do is get older.
Yeah.
Right? So that means, it's the same deal with like new construction. As new construction, you're reliant on the next phase costing more because you're not going to make your home any nicer.
Yeah.
And it's only going to get worse the more you live in it. Right? So you have to have these conversations with people. And the trickier thing I find right now is people paying big money for standardized product in outside areas. Because, again, it all comes down to substitution. Like a turn-of-the-century Victorian home in the south end of Halifax, there's only so many of them, right? You cannot just substitute that for something in an area over here.
Yeah.
However, if you get into standardized product, like this home looks like that home looks like this home, and you maybe go into an area that is more closely related to possible future development, you could find someone who's like, well, I'll just not get that one, I'll get this one. Right? Goes back to what I was talking about earlier, how, it used to be a situation, well, I won't buy the used home for $250 if I can get the new home for $300.
Yep.
So there are going to be a couple people who might have paid elaborate prices for standardized product in areas that aren't inherently,
Appreciating.
well, not inherently, but like not susceptible to competition, right? Like not as susceptible to substitution.
Yeah.
Right? Like, there might be some people who do have a challenge with that, but if they say, yeah, but this is just where I live, right? Like I just want this to be my home for the next 20 years.
That's true.
Right? We can't entirely put our value system on other people. Like people listen to this and want to make money off of real estate.
Yeah.
That's not what everyone wants to do. But if you're someone who wants to make money off this real estate, how do you buy in this sort of time?
Yeah. I agree. I think you made a good point when you said stay the course, because I think that's a big one for a lot of people is they start to be like, well, do I just have to just go insane? And I'm like, no, like these houses still have a certain amount of value. Yes, they are increasing, but we don't need to just keep going higher and higher and higher for the same thing that you're going after. We need to keep in mind, like there are maintenance issues with this home. There are this, and this, and this. This is what this is worth. I understand his neighbor's house sold for this, but you need to like stay focused on that. And I think sometimes it means we end up having to go through a few more properties and bid a little bit more. But I think at the end of it, they're going to be in better shape, whether they're holding it for the long term or not. But I do also say, like you said, there's some clients that like desperately want it, maybe because it's a non-replaceable property. Then you just need to make the decision, like how badly do you want this thing? Mm-hmm. And because then really, I wouldn't say price is irrelevant, but it kind of becomes that way because it's like there's certain factors that you can't put a value on because it's not as simple as saying, okay, it cost $10,000 to do this. You can't replace a certain location. You can't replace
100%.
a certain lot.
Yep.
All these sorts of things. But yeah, that's what it is. I this summer where we had this huge pullback, I wouldn't say pullback, sorry, slowdown due to I think external factors. I was called all my buyers, all the ones that had gotten tired and kind of fed up with it, and I was like, let's go. Like now is the
100%.
time. Here's an opportunity.
Yep.
You guys were tired of bidding against 25 people and going for ridiculous numbers. You won't have to do that right now. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of what I've been trying to do right now. Again, and I'm trying to recommend to a lot of buyers. I'm like, now is probably the time because I'm having so many asks that this is taking place. I think now is the time. I think the fall is going to come back.
I think so too.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I think it's going to come back strong. The immigration's going to resume. You're already seeing it. You drive around. The Ontario plates are driving around. People are going to be coming in. People are going to be going back to the day-to-day grind, and that's when they're shopping the homes. Mm-hmm. That's back on their mind. They're spending more time in the house. It becomes more relevant to their day-to-day. So right now, on a short term, I say buy. Even in general, though, I'm still a big proponent of buy. I don't think going crazy on every house is worthwhile. And yeah, I'm with you on the sense of if it's something that's like a replaceable product where there's 100 of them on the street, you gotta be more cautious on what you're doing because you can get burned.
When I was broke, I had rich habits.